السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. So we are resuming our classes after Ramadan, and inshallah ta'ala today we will continue from Al-Wahdatu Sadisa, the sixth unit, Hijratul Uqul, the migration of the intellect, Uqul of the minds, right? Migration of the intelligent people from countries to the developed world, from the developing countries to the developed world. So uqul, aql is intellect. So uqul, so the smart guys are going to the west. Right? This lesson is all about that. ما قبل القراءة, before reading, نسمع عن هجرة البشر. We hear about the hijrah is migration, right? Hijratul Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We hear about the migration of the of bashar is humans, of human beings, right? وهجرة الحيوانات والطيور, and the hijrah of حيوانات, of animals, and طيور, birds. فكيف تهاجر العقول? So how does intellects migrate, right? How does the mind migrate? ما أكثر الدول جذبا للعلماء. What are the أكثر الدول, most countries which accept. جذب is to accept, right? جذب is to accept. Absorb, right? Absorb. Ulama means scholars, but here he means scientist. Scientist. So alim could be a scientist or a scholar, right? So they're talking about scientists. So which country accepts the most scientists from the world? ما أكثر الدول التي يهاجر منها العلماء. And what are the countries from which the scientists travel, or the intellectual people migrate from? Like India, for example, they migrate to the US or wherever. So which is the most country? Is it Africa or whatever? انظر بسرعة إلى فرقتين ثلاثة وأربع واجب. Look at the third and fourth paragraph and then answer. ما أكثر الجنسيات هجرة من العلماء. What is the nationality, or what is the most nationality or nationalities which is هجرة من العلماء, migrating from the ulama, scholars or scientists. ما المهن التي يعمل فيها هؤلاء العلماء. What are these scientists or these intellectuals, what are the jobs? مهن, مهنة is singular, right? مهن is the plural. ما البلد الذي يهاجر إليه العلماء المذكورون في الفرقتين. What is the country which يهاجر إليه, migrate to the scientists المذكورون, the mentioned scientists في الفرقتين, in the two paragraphs. هل تعتقد أن الكاتب مع الهجرة أم ضدها? Do you think that the writer is with migration or against it, right? Does he support migration, or did this opposite, right? Opposite to it. So let's read this. Hijratul Uqul. Inna hijratul uquli واستقرارها في الخارج ظاهرة غريبة. Indeed, the migration of the intellect واستقرارها, and its stability, I guess. استقرار, establishment. Yeah, استقرار is establishment. استقر يستقر, from 10, استقرار, establishment. So indeed, the migration of the intellects or the minds and its establishment fil khariji, outside fil kharij, outside the countries, or outside our country, zahiratun ghariba, it's apparent, it's a strange appearance, strange occurrence. Tab'athu ala al-khalaqi wal-hayara. Right? Ba'atha yabathu is resurrects, or it calls for, right? It calls for regenerates or generates. Ala al-qalaq. Qalaq is worry, and hayra is astonishment. Hayra. وتجعلنا حريصين على مراجعة أوداعنا وفحصها بكل دقة. وتجعلنا, it makes us حريصين. Haris is the one who's more eager. Haris, right? Calculating, his wishful, right? So it makes us eager على مراجعة, to review. Muraja is review, right? مراجعة القرآن and so on. أوداعنا, أوداع I don't know what is awda. Modes. Awda is modes. أودعنا وفحصها بكل دقة. And فحص is فحص الطبيب is to inspect, and to inspect it بكل دقة, with clarity. كل دقة is with precise clarity. دقة is something which is minute, with minute details maybe. Okay, so he says, right, it's something which is mind-blowing, right? Then we should find out the meanings for it, find out the reason for it. Why are people migrating from Arab countries to the West, and from developing countries to the developed world? إنها ظاهرة غريبة. Indeed, it's a ظاهرة. It's something which is apparent. ظاهر. Right? Phenomenon. Yeah. ظاهرة is a phenomenon. It's a strange phenomenon. So you can translate here also. Strange phenomenon. Right? Outside is West. غريبة. It's a strange phenomenon. ظاهرة is a phenomenon. Okay. I just took the literal meaning and said ظاهرة is something which is apparent. That's why I searched again. ظاهرة is a phenomenon. غريبة is a strange phenomenon. إذا علمنا, when we know, أن الإحصاءات, that the studies, إحصاء, studies or researches, في إنجلترا, and in England. So there have been studies done in England. أثبتت أن نسبة كبيرة. أثبت يثبت form 4, and it's feminine because this is plural, right? إحصاءات. أثبتت, it has proven that the nisbata, anna is ismu anna, so mansub, right? Anna makes it, it's a sister of inna anna lakinna la'alla. Anna nisbatan kabiratan min ashahur al-atibba. That nisba is percentage. That a big percentage from the famous doctors, ashhur, most famous doctors from England, min fi Ingiltara, min al-ajanib, are from ajanib, are from other countries, ajnabi, strange, I mean, they're from foreign countries. وَأَنَّ مُعَظَمَهُمْ مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ, and that most of them are from Muslims. Right? So if you go and search that the majority, I mean, a great percentage of doctors from in England are from Muslim countries, right? They're foreigners. وما يقال عن الأطباء يقال عن جميع المهن والعلوم الأخرى. And what is said about doctors can be said يقال عن جميع المهن, about all of the occupations, والعلوم, and sciences الأخرى, and other sciences, from engineering, والرياضيات, mathematics, right, وفيزياء, physics, وغيرها, and others. وكلنا قد سمع بالعالم المسلم الذي كان من بين العلماء الأمريكيين. And all of us have surely heard بالعالم المسلم, of a Muslim scholar, الذي كان من بين العلماء, who was between the scientists, American scientists, الذين صمموا رحلة أبولو إلى القمر. صمم يصمم, form 4 is to design, right? تصميم is to design, sketch. صمموا رحلة أبولو, that is Apollo trip, right? Apollo 11, right? One of the Muslim scientists was there in it. To the moon, right? Of the moon. So the trip to the moon, one of the scientists played a great role in that. ومن أشهر العلماء الرياضيات بفرنسا جزائري الأصل, and the most famous mathematics scholar is in France. He's Aljazairi, right? Algerian al-Asl, right? His roots, his Algerian al-Asl. وهذه إحصائية لعلماء بعض الدول الإسلامية. And these are some of the إحصائيات, study لعلماء بعض الدول. And this is a study for scholars of some of the countries al-Islamiyya, Islamic countries. العربية منها, Arabic from it, of it. الذين هاجروا إلى أمريكا حسب ما ذكرته مجلة العربي في العدد 70 و100. الذين هاجروا, so these scientists, mathematics scholars, have migrated to America حسب ما ذكرته مجلة العربي, as has been mentioned by the Arabian magazine in the issue number 170. Right? Adad, when it comes to magazines and majallat, yeah, it means issue or edition number. You have istarat, right? Editions of the magazine, like magazine number so and so, so and so. So this is 170 magazine, Majallatul Arabi. Okay, so in the first paragraph, it says that it's strange that you'd find so many scholars from and scientists of Muslim origin in the West. So Badil in the third paragraph, we finished 2 paragraphs, yeah, first and second. بعد الحرب العالمية الثالثة. بعد الحرب العالمية الثانية أصبح المهاجرون من البلاد العربية إلى أمريكا. After the Second World War, أصبح المهاجرون من بلاد العربية, the muhajirun, the migrants became or migrated. أصبح المهاجرون, they started migrating to من بلاد العربية, from Arabic countries to إلى أمريكا, to America. من العلماء الممتازين النادرين, from the excellent ممتازون who's excellent scholars, النادرين, rare excellent scholars. Nadir is something which is rare. Okay. So the great scholars, they migrated to America. Yeah. ذلك أن, this is what, 58, right? So we say 58 100 أو نسبة من المهاجرين المصريين, and that is because, and that is 58% from the migrants المصريين, Egyptian migrants, هم من العلماء والمهندسين, they are from the scientists as well as the engineers. و70% and 70% من هؤلاء من حملة الشهادة الدكتوراه, and 70 from these are carrying doctorate degrees, yeah, doctor certificates. 17.5, that is 17, I don't know how you say 17.5. I don't know how you say decimals, but 17.5 17 و 0.5 بالمية منهم 17.5 من حمل شهادة الماجستير carrying master's degree. وبالنسبة لسوريا تشير الإحصاءات إلى أن عدد الأطباء السوريين العاملين في سوريا, and the number or the percentage for Syrians indicates that the studies إحصاءات إلى أن عدد الأطباء, that the number of doctors, Syrian doctors العاملين, working Syrian doctors or resident Syrian doctors you can call, في سوريا 1,500 مقابل 4,000, that is 1,500 is what, 500 و1000 مقابل 4,000 4,000 يعملون في الخارج. So out of 4,000, 1,500 of them are working outside. كما تشير إحدى الدراسات الأمريكية إلى أن نحو 90%, and one of the studies, American studies, point out that approximately 90% من الطلاب اللبنانيين, of the Lebanon students الذين يدرسون في الولايات المتحدة, who have studied in the UK, USA, لا يرغبون في العودة إلى وطنهم. They do not wish to return to their countries. إلى وطن Lebanon, لبناني. وأن 80%, and that 80% من الطلاب الأردنيين, 80% of the Jordan students الذين يدرسون في جامعات الغرب, who are studying in Western University, لا يعودون مطلقا. They do not return absolutely. I mean, they do not return at any case. So such huge numbers of students and doctors and professionals are migrating from the Arabic countries. I mean, it's hayra, right? It's astonishing. 80%, they don't want to come back, right? They like the Western world. وهذه إحصاءات قدمتها الولايات المتحدة عن هجرة العلماء والمهندسين والأطباء المهاجرين. And these are the studies which the USA, ولايات المتحدة, has presented. قدم يقدمه عن هجرة العلماء, the migration of scientists and engineers and doctors, المهاجرين إليها, who are migrating to it, to USA, من بعد الدول الإسلامية في 5 أعوام. From some of the Islamic countries in 5 years, from 1962, that is 1962 ميلادي إلى 1976. 1962 to 1967. Yeah, 1967 miladi. Right, 232. So he says 232 عالما من العراق. That is what is this? 232 عالما من العراق و160 من الأردن. Right, 232 scholars from Iraq or scientists. 160 from Jordan, 436 from Lebanon, that is 436 من لبنان, and 141, that is 141 من سوريا, and 270, right, 270 من مصر, 141 from Syria and 270 from Egypt. نعرف من هذا كيف تساهم العقول الإسلامية في تقدم دول كثيرة. We know from this كيف تساهم. يساهم تساهم is to cooperate or contribute. العقول الإسلامية, how the Islamic intellect is cooperating في تقدم دول كثيرة, of the development of the country, right? Of many countries, right? So apart from their countries, they are contributing to the development of other countries. وهذه الأرقام تدعونا إلى دراسة هذه المشكلة من أساسها. And these numbers calls to us to the دراسة هذه المشكلة, to the study of this problem من أساسها, from its foundation. Like, why are people going? Because they don't like their countries. حتى تعود هذه العقول إلى بلادها, so that these intellectual people, these minds, will come back to their countries. لأن المستفيد الأول من هذه الهجرة هي الدول الغنية. Because مستفيد is benefit. So the one benefactor. Because the first benefactor or the first beneficial point من هذه الهجرة, from this migration here, الدول الغنية, benefactor, yeah. So who are benefiting from this intellectual, migration? It's the rich countries, right? So people want to try and go to the richer countries. Here, الدول الغنية. So the richer countries are being benefited from this migration. والأرقام التي ذكرناها أكبر دليل على ذلك. And the numbers which we have mentioned are the biggest evidence for that. وتؤكد بأن الدول الإسلامية ساهمت فعلا في إثراء الدول الغنية. أكد يؤكد form 2. And وتؤكد بأن الدول الإسلامية, and it is emphasized that the Islamic countries ساهمت, have contributed فعلا, in reality, yeah, really they've contributed في إثراء الدول الغنية. إثراء is making them more rich. Like enrich the rich countries. I mean, it's so important. It's so emphasized that you're making the rich countries more richer. وبدراسة هذه المشكلة نجد أن أسباب هذه الهجرات هي. And by studying this problem, we find that the reasons for the migration are: يعود الطالب بعد تخرجه في إحدى الكليات الأجنبية. The student returning after his graduation, خرج يخرج تخرج يتخرج is to graduate. تخرج from 5. في إحدى الكليات الأجنبية. The student returns after his graduation in one of the foreign colleges. ليعمل في وطنه, so that he can work in his country. ولديه أمل أن يكون راتبه مناسبا للشهادة التي يحملها. And he should have a hope that his salary, ratib, his salary, should be, or his compensation should be appropriate to his certificate which he carries. ولكن هذا الأمل ينتهي, but this hope ends, right? What is the reason? One reason is job opportunities, right? In his country. This ينتهي حين يجد راتبه قليلا جدا. Even if he has a foreign degree, he'll find that this hope ends when he finds that his salary is so less. راتب لا يكفي حاجته الضرورية. It's not enough for his حاجة, need, right? For his need, basic needs. ولا يسافي عشر راتبه الذي يمكن أن يأخذه في البلاد الأجنبية. It's not even equal to 10%, right? 1/10 or 1/10 of his salary, which is possible that he can earn يأخذه or take in the Western country, Ajnabi, a foreign country. So he is not able to get even 1/10 of his salary, right? That's the first reason, that his salary is not enough. His job opportunities are very less in his country. يعود الطالب إلى بلده. The student returned to his country. ولديه أمل أن يجد المكان المرموق التي يستحقها. He has a hope that he will find a place, marmuqa, which is, I don't know what is marmuq. Prestigious, eminent, yeah, marmuq. التي يستحقها, which he deserves. Right? He finds a noble place, an esteemed place, outstanding place, marmuq. وإذا به يجد أشخاصا أقل منه بكثير يتمتعون بمزايا أكثر. And so, when this is called إذا الفجائية, إذا of surprise, and behold, surprisingly, he finds people أقل منه, who are lesser than him, بكثير, by a lot. I mean, he's lesser than them by a lot. يتمتعون بمزايا أكثر. They are enjoying with mazayas, distinguishing features, advantages, yeah, advantages. بمزايا أكثر. That they have a lot of advantages, more, right? So he'll find when comes back to his country, he'll find that people who have lesser education and all that, they are on high positions. فينقلب هذا النشاط. So this activity returns. وهذا التفاؤل إلى حزن. Or this activeness, nashat, this activeness, and he wants to serve his homeland or whatever, it overturns. It overturns because you find people who are lesser than him, they are in great positions, who are not qualified for the jobs. وهذا التفاؤل إلى حزن. And this tafaul is with the hamza, tafaul, tafa'ala, tafaul, and this positiveness, right? It turns into huzn. على ما يحدث في وطنه, at what happens in his country, right? Corruption and all that. يجعله يهجره إلى حيث يجد المكان مناسبة, which makes him leave, right? حجر يهجره, he makes him do hijrah إلى حيث يجد المكانة المناسبة, where he can find an appropriate place. Right, so he comes back to his country, he finds other people have already grabbed those positions who are unqualified or who don't have enough education. So he goes to an appropriate place, and that he can find in the country which he'll like Western countries. Third, افتقار الدول الإسلامية إلى مختبرات العلمية. افتقار, poverty, but not literal poverty. The Islamic countries' unavailability إلى مختبرات العلمية, right? Lack, you can say lack in the Islamic countries to the labs. مختبر, اختبار is to test someone. So we test something is a lab. مختبرات العلمية. Lacking scientific labs and scientific equipment and all that. يجعل العلماء يهاجرون. which makes these scientists migrate ila bilad al-ghaniyya, to the rich countries where he can research and spend time experimenting. حيث يجدون الجو الملائم لأبحاثهم, where he can find where they can find الجو, an environment, ملائم, which is appropriate, suitable, لأبحاثهم, for their researches. Bahth is a singular, abhath, for their researches and their experimentation and all that. So they can find appropriate environment for that. Third, سوء التنظيم الإداري, bad organizational management. Right? You'll find management is also bad. في بعض الأحيان, and sometimes, يجعل عددا كبيرا من هؤلاء العلماء, which makes a great number of these scientists or scholars to migrate. يبقون مدة طويلة ينتظرون تعيينهم في مكان ما. So these scientists, they remain a long period ينتظرون, waiting, تعيينهم, for this for the تعيين, appointment, right? عين يعين, to specify. I believe here it means appointment in في مكان ما, in some place, right? So looking for jobs here and there. Why? And this مكان ما means some place. This ma is called ma mubhama, which is some place, like أكلت شيئا ما, I ate something. وعندما ينفد صبرهم, and when their sabr ceases, that means when the patience finishes, it comes in the Quran, right? ينفد, نفدا ينفد, ما ينفد, ما عندكم ينفد, وما عند الله باق. Whatever is there with you will cease to exist, will finish, but whatever is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remain. Nafida yanfadu. Sabruhum, when their patience finishes, yuttarruna, they're forced. Ittara yattarru. This is form 8. And this ittara, form 8, the taw is changed to a ta. Because of the heaviness, there's a rule, right? Ibdal, it is called. You change the ta to a ta. Yuttarruna ila al-hijrati. They're forced to migrate. Ila haythu yajiduna al-amala sari'an, where they will find quick jobs. Quick jobs. So the easy jobs. Sari'a, quick jobs. Next point. So what are the reasons? No labs, no job opportunities, salary is low, bad organization management. انعدام الحرية السياسية والفكرية. انعدام, lack. I think it means lack. Lack, yeah, absence. Absence of freedom, siyasiya, political freedoms, والفكرية, and thought freedoms or expression, freedom of thought and expression. من أهم ما يميز الحياة السياسية في معظم البلاد الإسلامية. From the most important factors which distinguishes the political life in most of the Islamic countries. حتى إن كثيرا من المعتقلين السياسيين, that indeed many of the معتقل, يعتقل, I don't know what is معتقل. Detain, yeah. اعتقال is to arrest. So political arrests, right? Political detainees, prisoners, هم من الذين يحملون على الشهادات العلمية. They are the ones who carry the highest education degrees. Yeah. So then the people, opposition and all that, they arrest those people, and people in jails have a lot of degrees. مما يضطر أكثرهم الاستقرار في الخارج, where they are forced, that most of them are forced, اضطر يضطر, استقرار is to establish outside, right? They would like to استقرار في الخارج, outside, to lodge themselves outside, to have a residence outside. حيث يجدون من الحرية, where they'll find freedom, ما لا يجدونه في أوطانهم, which they cannot find in their countries. Last point, not last point, last reason, هناك تقصير في كثير من الأحيان, there's a lot of تقصير, there's little من الطالب الذي لا يملك القدرة على التضحية. There's a lot of lacking in many situations من الطالب from the student الذي لا يملك القدرة, who is not having the ability على التضحيات, to make sacrifices, right? To make sacrifices in his country. So he cannot, after obtaining the studies and after studying in, he cannot have the ability to make a sacrifice financially or whatever to keep, keep making sacrifices and stay in his country. So he'll prefer to migrate to other countries. So he says, هذه بعض الأسباب, and these are some of the reasons التي جعلت أكثر العقول الإسلامية تهاجر, which have made many of the intellects, Islamic world intellects, Islamic scholars and all that, to migrate. لتشارك في بناء الحضارة الغربية, to build this Western civilization. فهل فكرنا في تفادي هذه المشكلات ودرس كل أسباب أسباب التي تدفعهم إلى الهجرة? And have we not pondered about في تفادي? What is تفادي? Avoiding, yeah. فهل فكرنا? So have we really thought about averting? تفادي is to تفادى يتفادى. مصدر, I think, of form 6. في تفادي هذه المشكلات, to avoid these problems, ودرس كل أسباب, and studying every reason التي تدفعهم إلى الهجرة. So it's our responsibility. So have we really solved this problem which causes them تدفعهم دفع يدفعوا, to push, which have pushed them to migrate. لتستفيد منهم أوطانهم, so that they can benefit from their own countries, so they can stay in their countries and benefit from them. التي أنفقت عليهم الأموال الكثيرة, which have spent on them a lot of money, right? So I mean, they can come back to their homelands. So what are the reasons and how can we solve that? And this is بالتصرف من مجلة الأمة. This has taken by permission from Majallah of Ummah, Majallatul Ummah. Captured, tasarruf could be captured from, not permission. It has been taken from tasarruf, extracted from Majallatul Ummah. استيعاب ومفردات وتعبيرات. أولا الاستيعاب, comprehension and vocabulary and expressions. تدريب الأول, دع علامة الصحيح والخطأ ثم صحح الخطأ. True or false? Okay, so all this هجرة العقول. أثبتت الإحصاءات أن شهر الأطباء الأجانب في إنجلترا إنجلترا من مصر. No. From مصر? No. من المسلمين. And the studies have that the famous doctors, foreign doctors, are from Egypt. No, they're from Muslims, not one specific countries, from various countries. من بين العلماء الذين صمموا رحلة أبولو عالم مسلم. Yes, right, from the scientists who have sent Apollo, there was one Muslim scientist. من أشهر العلماء الرياضيات بفرنسا عالم عراقي على الأصل. From the famous mathematics scholars is in France. He's alimun Iraqi. No, he's not Iraqi. He's Jazairi. He's Algerian. Al-Asl. عدد الأطباء السوريين العاملين في سوريا أكثر من الذين يعملون في الخارج. The number of the doctors, Syrian doctors working in Syria are more than the work they're working outside. No, outside is more. Syrian doctors. Yeah, 4,000 are working outside. Yeah. 1,500 are working inside. Outside are more. We read it in the passage as reverse, but outside are more. يعود نحو 80% من الأردنيين إلى وطن بعد الدراسة. No. right? Jordanians return, 80% of Jordanians return to their country after studying. No, they don't. عدد العقول التي هاجرت إلى أمريكا من مصر سوريا 411 عالما. Yeah, maybe. Okay. The number of intellectual people which migrated to America from Egypt are 400. Egypt and Syria. من أسباب هجرة العقول سوء التنظيم الإداري. Yeah, bad تنظيم الإداري, bad organizational management. Yeah, administrative organization. Yeah, okay. تدريب الثاني وإن match the following بين السبب في الأول في ألف والنتيجة في باء. إذا نفد صبر العلماء, if the patience of the scientists stops, so what happens? العلماء حيث الجو الملائم لأبحاثهم نجد كثيرا من المعتقلين ينتهي العمل إنما يأخذ لا يكفي تقدمت تلك الدول يضطرون إلى الهجرة فيجدون عملا سعيا. maybe ها أو يبقى العلماء مدة طويلة دون عمل. yeah, wow, what so, okay, maybe wow. ينقلب نشاطه وتفاعله إلى حسن. Okay, maybe wow or ha. They're forced to migrate because when the patients, let's see the text. Nafida yanfadu. Where was it? Where was it? Somewhere here. Let's see. I'm not able to find. يمكن أن يأخذ في البلد يعود الطالب إلى بلده موجود جيدة وصول ينفذ صبرهم يضطرون إلى الهجرة. Yeah, yeah. So this is ha. This is ha. إذا لم يجد العالم المكانة المناسبة, if the scientist does not find an appropriate place, so what does he do? He leaves. يهاجر العلماء حيث الجو الملائم لأبعادهم. Let's wait for this. إذا فقدت المختبرات, yeah, maybe this is if there is فقد is if there's lack of scientific labs. So what they'll do? They'll go find يهاجر العلماء حيث جو الملائم لأبحاثهم. They can find an appropriate environment for their research. بسبب سوء التنظيم الإداري, because of lack of organizational management, I mean bad organizational management, what can happen? Let's leave this also. ينتهي له أمله إلى أن ما يأخذه لا يكفي حاجته. No. بسبب انعدام الحرية السياسية, because of lack of political freedom, نجد كثير من العلماء المعتقلين. We'll find many various of the scholars have been arrested. لأن الرواتب قليلة بعد التخرج. The salaries are low بسبب هجرة العقول الإسلامية للغرب. Because the salaries are low, I mean anything could be. If salaries are low, their activeness turns into huzn. It's do sadness because your salary is low. Oh, no, not this one. I think this should be ينتهي الأمل, hope ends because لأن ما يأخذه لا يكفي حاجته. It's not enough for his need. So this is done. دال تقدمت تلك الدول. Those countries progress. So what could be the بسبب, yeah, this is the one. Because بسبب هجرة العقول, because of Islamic minds are migrating to the West, those countries are developing. And there's واو and za يبقى العلماء مدة دون العمل. Yeah, maybe second one. If the scholar doesn't find a proper place, he'll remain without work for a long time. And then what was the last one? Here, بسبب سوء التنظيم الإداري ينقلب نشاطه وتفاعله إلى حزن. his positiveness and his hope turns into sadness because of the bad organizational management. التدريب الثالث وين بين الفكرة الرئيسية في الرقم والفكرة في باء. You can try this out. Which paragraph he asks all these things. Central paragraph and رقم الفكرة the number like إحصائيات عربية لعلماء بعض الدول الإسلامية في أمريكا. Arabic studies إحصائيات لعلماء بعض الدول for the scientists of some countries, Islamic countries في أمريكا in America. So which paragraph has these studies? So whichever. إحصائيات أمريكية نهجة العلماء المسلمين. The American, maybe second paragraph. American studies of American study which shows that Muslim scholars are migrating. Migration of the Muslim scholars. إحصائيات بريطانية تشير إلى كثرة العلماء المسلمين. A British study which points out that a lot of Muslim scholars are there. أسباب هجرة العقول الإسلامية, the reason for migrating. So he gives all the reason, right? Which paragraph was that? Asbab. Fifth paragraph, right? Fifth paragraph. We have the reason. You can try it out. I mean, just a number. هجرة العقول ظاهرة, the phenomenon of the تحتاج إلى مراجعة. Requires, this is the first paragraph, I guess. Requires revision or review. دعوة لدراسة أسباب الهجرة لعودة العلماء. A call for studying the reason. This is the last paragraph, sixth paragraph. For returning of the scientists. تدريب الرابع أجب باختصار عما يلي. Answer the following. ما المهن الأخرى غير الطب التي يمارسها العلماء المهاجرين في إنجلترا? What are the other occupations apart from medicine which they practice? The Muslim scholars who migrated. So handasa, physics, riyadiyat, mathematics, right? ما اسم الرحلة الأمريكية التي ساهم فيها عالم مسلم? What is the American ship which the Muslim scholar contributed? That is Apollo, right? Apollo, رحلة أبولو. ما المصدر الذي أخذت منه الإحصائيات مثل الفقرة الثالثة? What is the source? Masdar is the source which has taken the study in the third paragraph. There was a magazine, Majallatul Arabi, Arabic magazine. ما نسبة حملة شهادة الدكتوراه للمصريين في أمريكا? What is the percentage of the PhD holders, Egyptian PhD holders in America? So you have to look back, I don't know, some percentage of PhD holders. Egyptians, 70%. Yeah, 70. All these numbers, you can go back and check it out. ما عدد الارتباط السوريين في الداخل والخارج? And what's the number of doctors in inside and outside? Some 5,000 something. ما نسبة الطلاب الأردنيين الذين لا يعودون إلى بلادهم? What's the number of Jordanians? 80%, I guess. 80% not returning to their countries. ما عدد العلماء من العراق والأردن من أمريكا? What is the percentage of or number of scholars from Iraq and Jordan from America? In America, from Iraq and Jordan in America. So they gave some numbers, right? The numbers 160, so 232 from Iraq, and he wants us Syria, 232 and 141. You should add those. 392, 232 and 141. So 373, because Iraq and Syria he wants, right? You need to add them. Or Iraq and Urdun he wants. Sorry. Where was the number? Iraq is 332 and 232. And Jordan 160. Like 332. Yeah, 392. Yeah, 392. Okay. هل هذه الإحصائيات حديثة أو قديمة? Are these studies old or new? They're old. Old studies. No? 1966, 1962 to 1967. من المستفيد الأول من هجرة العقول? Who is the first benefactor from the migration of the intellect? It is the دول الغنية, right? The rich countries. كيف نوقف هجرة العقول في رأيك? How should we stop? How should we stop this hijrah? How should we stop? We should provide them جو المناسب أو ملائم لهؤلاء العلماء. We should give them appropriate, what do you call it, environment, رواتب. Their salary should also be good. ثانيا المفردات والتعبيرات. So which goes with what? Which goes with what? I think we can do this next class. Right, inshallah. I think we can do this next class. Mufradat or ta'birat. So that's it for today, inshallah. In our next class, we'll continue from where we left off. Wahdat al-Sadisa, the 6th unit, and that is Hijratul Uqul. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.